People ask me about how to trim a brisket and how to get it ready to go on the smoker and all that stuff. So this is just a whole packer, 15.4 pounds. Never been trimmed, still in the vacuum pack, so let's cut it open. So it's not a competition brisket, so we just want to get rid of stuff that's not going to render, which means get rid of the fat that's not going to cook in and create moisture or, you know, help it taste. So here's a big chunk in the front on top, so I'm going to kind of cut that back.
How do you know what's going to render and what's not?
Okay, so Rachel asks, how do you know what's going to render and what's not going to render? If it's real hard fat, like real dense, like this, it's not going to render. It's not going to cook down and give you any flavor in your meat. But what it will do is, you know, all fat can also protect your meat, you know, the stuff you want to eat. So anyway, this big clod at the end, at the front, I'm just going to shape that so that when the smoke hits it, that, you know, the smoke comes across it and works its way from the thick end down over the flat. So from the point to the flat, the thick side, the point's going to be towards my firebox. It's going to be taking the brunt of the heat, but back here, this thin part, all this, as the smoke circulates, it's going to start trying to get this stuff good. It's going to try to burn that stuff up too. So we've got to keep that in mind, and I'll talk about that in a second. So aerodynamics is what's happening right now. We're just trying to get, you know, a good turn, a good flow for the heat and the smoke to follow. Still a lot of fat. This stuff up here, I mean, you can leave some 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch. Everybody's got their different ideas. I'm going to leave about a 1/4 inch up here. And then on the fat side of this brisket, I'm going to leave a little bit more. And people talk about fat side up, fat side down, all that junk. It's preference. I cook my briskets fat side up because I figure if it's fat, it's gonna render, it's gonna create some moisture, and it's also gonna protect the meat. All this silver, all that stuff, I'd take all that off if it was competition, and I'm gonna take some of it off just for this because, you know, it's gonna end up on the top. You're gonna be trying to put some seasonings on here, and your seasoning's not gonna stick to that fat. Your seasoning's gonna wanna get on the meat. If this takes you longer than one beer, then you're over involved. It's not a huge deal. Your cook time's gonna be longer because you're trying to get an internal temp, and to get that internal temp, you're wasting time cooking a bunch of fat that's not gonna go anywhere. All right, so that's gonna be all right for now. Let's look at the back. Fat side, a lot of this stuff is not gonna render. It's just too thick, it's too dense, it's gonna sit there and take forever just to get out of the way to get your meat where you want it to be. I mean, you can see how thick that is. You don't need all that. I mean, that's worthless to everybody. And time consuming and waste of time, waste of wood to try to get there. We could go all into how a brisket's actually 2 muscles, and the fact that, you know, the grain runs way in the flat and a different way in the point and all that stuff, but the bottom line is it splits somewhere towards the middle, and that's neither here nor there for this video. You can see, whoa, you can see all that. You can see, if I were to clear this out, you would be able to see where the 2 muscles come together. But I'm not going to mess with all that right now. So another piece that's real thick right here. Now I'm just going to take it down to where there's like a 1/4 inch. Well, I got a little bit close. To where there's just not quite as much. This big old clod right here, I mean, that's time in the smoker. A lot of this stuff, you know, just I'd leave it, man, and let it protect your meat. If your fire gets hot, you spike your fire. When you walk away, you're all right for a little bit. All right, so relatively aerodynamic, relatively to where the air and smoke can circulate across this meat. A lot of this fat is just a waste of time and not going to help you. Gone. I'm just going to take this big old piece of junk right here. It's just a waste. All right. For today, that's good enough. So that's the top. There's the fat side. It's got some fat left, but I'm not worried about all this. The bottom line is I like a little bit of fat. Like a good ribeye steak. The fat helps. Helps with flavor and taste, but it's a lot of this stuff you just don't need. I don't need. Don't buy this thing, it never worked. All right, so that's about as trimmed as I'm going to do this. This is a personal brisket. This is how I like it. This is more meat than my family would need. And so if I get some places where it's too fatty, then we can work around it.